Hi everyone, so here we are. The new moon in Libra is upon us, or behind us at this point in time I should say, 11:27 a.m. on September the 28th, and I'm doing this a few hours afterwards. Let's set this up step by step so that you have a sense of what's going on with this particular new moon in the sign of Libra. As I've already discussed in 2 videos before, the sign of Libra is about rebalancing the scales. And the focus primarily in the 2 videos I've done before, Venus in Libra and Mercury in Libra. Venus and Mercury are both transiting Libra currently. The focus has been on rebalancing the scales related to relationships. But really with the sign of Libra, we're looking at rebalancing the scales as they apply to each of us around things that we value. And even if we're rebalancing the scales around relationships or money or creative pursuits or our environment, beautifying our environment, purging things, cleaning things. Somewhere at the bottom of this is an evaluation of and a rediscovery perhaps of what it is that we really value, what is important to us, what is valuable to us, what is valuable to us in relationships, what is valuable to us with regard to where it is that time may be spent or money may be spent or energy may be spent. Where are our values, what needs calibration, and what needs a balancing of the scales? And we might do it in evolved Libra manners or in unevolved Libra manners, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I've already spent a fair amount of time on that in the Venus and Mercury in Libra videos. So where does this leave us? We're in the sign of rebalancing the scales around things that we value, but particularly when it has to do with Venusian things, relationships, money, abundance, creative pursuits, luxuries, beautiful things. I'll leave it at that. Mercury and Venus entered the sign of Libra on September the 14th. So both the ruler of Libra, Venus, and Mercury, the planet of communication, have been in this sign of Libra since September the 14th. The Sun entered the sign of Libra on September the 23rd. So at present we've got the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Libra. Wherever the Sun goes, it illuminates that part of the chart very strongly. It's like this massive giant spotlight, and all the nooks and crannies and cobwebs and things that we don't want to look at and things that have gotten dusty but we may not have seen, all the nooks and crannies start to get revealed. It's time for some subconscious evaluation. It's time for your annual review of Libra-related activities and themes. Some of these themes are related to the sign of Libra. Some of these themes, actually more importantly, are related to where Libra is in your chart. What house does it occupy? What part of the chart, and therefore what life themes does Libra color, for lack of a different word to use right now? So both the house that Libra occupies and what the sign stands for are going through their annual review since September the 23rd to October the 23rd, as they do roughly around the same time every year, because the Sun enters the sign of Libra and is in the sign of Libra roughly at the same time every year. So you've got the ruler of Libra, the planet of communication, and then as of September the 23rd, our soul planet, the planet that is going to come in and check and test and review everything related to, at the very least, rebalancing the scales, especially when they have to do with relationships, has to be said. Relationships can't be ignored. Other things may come and go, but it's the relationship side of things and our values related to relationships and what we value and how things need to be rebalanced that cannot be ignored. As I said in the Mercury in Libra video, we could be sitting on communications or be experiencing communications, texts, emails, voicemails, conversations related to relationships and rebalancing the scales. With Mercury here, there could also be a lot of thinking along this particular topic. And with Venus here, the ruler of Libra is here. This is getting some serious attention outside of other parts of the chart. Wherever the sun is, of course, we have a new moon, because while the sun is in Libra, the moon which has gone around is going to meet up with it. The sun will take 30 days roughly to go through a particular sign, and during those 30 days, the moon, which takes 28 days to go around the earth, the moon will meet up from where we sit with the sun at least once, rarely twice, because of the difference between 28 to 30. So we have a new moon today. Whenever the personal planets, Venus or Mercury, enter a sign before the sun comes in, it's as if they're setting the stage for the sun to come in. And then once the sun comes in, it's as if the stage is being set for the new moon. So with Venus and Mercury coming in on September the 14th and the sun coming in on September the 23rd, and here we are on September the 28th, over the past 2 weeks there has been I hesitate to use the word build-up, but let's just say an inventory, a collection. Things have been brought to the surface. And especially with the sun here over the past 4 or 5 years, even more illumination, even more of a spotlight. Now the spotlight is going to shine in this part of the chart till October the 23rd. But it's the new moon that happens, as adjusted a few hours ago, that really gets the horse out of the gate. So Mercury and Venus have been here, planet of communications, the planet of relationships, in the sign of Libra. The sun comes in, that reflects our soul and what is true for us on the truest of levels, that we experience really more than anything else subconsciously, because we're so wrapped up in our mind, Mercury, and our emotions, the moon. We identify with those planets more than we do, unless we're really placing the subconscious into the conscious, than the sun. But wherever the sun is, it can't be ignored, partly because of these cycles and partly because it's the sun. It's the giver of life. So since September the 14th, the Libra part of the chart, the Libra sign, has been getting its share of attention. And now the new moon is here. And now for the next 4 weeks, activities related to this part of the chart and this sign will truly be in action. As I mentioned in a video a few days ago, sort of a where we at video, the time before the new moon, so it could be that the last 24 to 48 hours have been a little bit dreamy, a little bit not nearly getting as much done as you probably need to or would like, having a hard time getting to things that require a certain amount of exertion. Oh, I really got to write this email, but it's not easy and I've got to think about it for 20 minutes, so I'm just not going to do it right now. Oh, this needs to happen. The easier things get done, and really not in. So if you're sort of in go mode, the last 48 to 72 hours could have been a little bit frustrating and a little bit puzzling. If you went with the flow, you might have just decided to allow yourself to put your feet up for a while the moon was completely fading into darkness. And now that the new moon has happened, energy will return. Pay attention over the next 48 to 72 hours. I find 24 to 48 hours for this new moon in Libra to bring things and bring up things related to this stuff that has been bubbling up for the past 2 weeks with Venus and Mercury and then the sun coming into Libra and setting the stage for this new moon to present themselves to you. Not only after a new moon, and I've said this a ton of times, will you have the inspiration and the energy to start to do more and take on more, and things will start to happen, and those messages will start to get sent out, and those tasks will start to get done and addressed, and it will give you the wind in your sails that you need to start this next 28-day cycle. Spirit or the universe will also bring things to you related to where Libra is in the chart or Libra related stuff. New moons, the 48 to 72 hours after a new moon, are always, for me, an inspiring and affirming time, even if stuff that is being brought to me is crap. At least it's stuff that's happening, as opposed to stuff that's absolutely not happening. On October the 13th, we have a full moon in Aries. It is signed right opposite Libra. The moon is happy in Libra. The moon is not happy in Aries. We'll cover for the full moon in Aries, but basically between now and on October the 13th, pace is going to increase. Energy is going to increase. We're going to be taking on more. We're going to be in a cycle of action related to Libra-related activities. And around October the 13th, we will have to deal with the polarity related to Libra-related activities when the moon goes full in Aries. We'll deal with that at that time. I also like to look at, when it comes to the new moon, what are some of the aspects that are really present. The most talked about aspect with this particular new moon is its opposition to Chiron. The opposition to Chiron has already happened, as far as I am concerned, prior to the new moon. So as far as I am concerned, it is a separating aspect. And therefore, I tend to be a little bit, probably in fairness, I tend to be unnecessarily draconian about eliminating separating aspects from my radar. If it's already happened at the time that I'm looking at, I'm just like, no, why should I consider it? I'm more excited about the aspects that are on their way to happening. And especially with the new moon on their way to happening right after a new moon. That's where the seed is planting, that's where the seed is growing. But I will say, with the opposition to Chiron, it didn't happen that long ago, so why not think about it as something that's in the backdrop? And really, with the new moon being opposite Chiron, not as far as I'm concerned, but as far as the rest of the world is concerned, one of the questions to ask and look back at this new moon as this 28th cycle continues and starts to complete is there an opportunity to heal something? Is there an opportunity to examine and take action around some part of your life where healing is currently occurring? But the way the healing occurs, unfortunately, it's a little bit like getting bruised, not realizing that perhaps you have it, it hurts, but then you realize that a bruise is forming and you kind of have to keep going back. You have to keep giving something attention. You kind of have to keep feeling the pain in order to judge whether the healing has occurred. So there's a kind of a revisiting of wound until everything comes together at a soul and a body level to really make an effort to heal it. It's not a light theme, but it's a new moon opposite Chiron, so one of the questions that we can look at and is in the backdrop, and indeed as you're looking at rebalancing the scales in terms of relationships, one of the questions you may be looking at, especially when it has to do with communications or relationships, is there an opportunity for healing? Who needs to heal? Do you need to heal? Does the other party need to heal? Is there healing on a collective level that needs to happen? What does this healing look like? Somewhere it is going to be tied to the ruler of this new moon is Venus. Somewhere it is going to be tied to our values and reassessing our values. Who are we? It's happening, as far as I'm concerned, on the axis of identity. Who are we? What is important to me? If I honor what is important to me, how do I calibrate my relationships around that? How do I, after determining what is important to me, determine how to put the other party first when it is that I'm in relationship, in a way that moves us away from the paradigm of codependency or compromise, but moves us more towards peace, which will only come through a mutual love and understanding, not a desire to have the other person give us something or receive something or measure something, but in a real taking a step back and assessing the other party, understanding what they need, determining whether what they need, we have something to give there or not based on what we are valuing at a present time, and just infusing the entire situation with a certain amount of balance, peace, and love, and getting away from codependency, compromise, answering to your needs or other people's needs. The Mercury in Libra video I did has an extended section on this aspect of what we consider relationships but may not be relating in the highest form of sort of the Libra sense. So we've got the new moon opposite Chiron as a backdrop. To me, the two more interesting transits are that Venus, the ruler of Libra, is sextile Jupiter, but it is square Pluto. And it's the square to Pluto that I'm really, that is unignorable. Venus sextile Jupiter is nice. I think that sextiles tend to be a little too exaggerated. I'm sorry, I've already said this before. I'm kind of an astringent astrologer insofar as I'm examining things. I'm not going to give you a lot of hogwash. I'm not going to say Venus is sextile Jupiter, so amazing things are going to happen. I think sextiles are exaggerated, okay? Sorry to get cold, dry martini on you. But it's there, so it's nice. So it remains to be seen. Is there something here? Is there a certain amount of support here in terms of new beginnings? Again, Jupiter tends to get trumpeted as the lucky planet. I remain open to really understanding what good luck is or bad luck is. Is losing a particular job good luck or bad luck if it allows you to move towards something you really want to do, although it might create a little bit of temporary pain? Is that good luck? Or is that bad luck? Is it better to move on from a relationship that is not working because something comes through as sort of an act of God to push you out of complacency? Is that good luck or bad luck, so that you can move towards something that's better? So this whole notion of good and bad and luck, again, sorry to get cold dry martini on you, but Venus is sextile Jupiter, and so Venus is sextile what is conventionally considered the lucky planet. They're both lucky planets. Venus is considered the smaller lucky planet and Jupiter the bigger lucky planet. So the lucky planets are in kind of a harmonious, gentle aspect to each other. Let's take it. There may be opportunities that come up that are related to relationships and money and creativity and new beginnings related to these. Let's pencil that in and see how things emerge, particularly if these activities are somehow creative or spiritual, related to either wisdom, but especially related to finances, abundance, relationships. After all, the key to finances and abundance is relationships, right? Who are you going to give and receive from, if not from other people? And particularly in the Libra sense, people who sit in the 7th house or are governed by the sign of Libra. Your spoken and unspoken contracts, marriage partners or professional partners, blah, blah, blah. And creative activities. So maybe some opportunities there, which would be lovely if they came through. So let's not completely knock Jupiter out of bed, but let's keep him there. Jupiter loves to sit with people in bed anyway, archetypally, so we'll just have him there for the time being. But Pluto, the square to Pluto cannot be ignored. Venus square Pluto is typically an aspect of power struggles. There's no way around it. Gotta put it out there. So as we balance these scales, is it possible that some of us are going to run into, with the opposition to Chiron just behind us and the square to Pluto in place, as we rebalance the scales and as we try to move forward in ways that are Venusian and true for us and are trying to move forward even from a sattvic place, that's more of a Hindi or a Sanskrit term, or more from a noble place, a Venusian place. We're trying to realign with our values, but other people who may not be that interested in us aligning with our values may play in Pluto ways. There may be revenge in the air, or there may be dirty activities, or Pluto, I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you recalibrate this relation. I'm not going to, you think you can get away from me? Well, I'm going to mess you up in this way. A little bit of that dark underworld, revengey, power trippy. If people are in that form, let them take on the karma they need to take on. It will even out for them. It will. It certainly evens out for me when karma comes to slap me in the face. So why shouldn't it even out for them? People always have a choice as to whether they will pay attention to what is going on and send out an energy of love and peace and support, or whether they will go into this trippy place where if they see someone trying to get true to who they are, whether they choose not to wish them love and start to spin around in some sort of dark, egoic space. You may deal with that to some extent. Some of us may deal with that. Some of us may deal with the fact that some people are trying to hold on to their power as we recalibrate our relationships over the next 28 days, but maybe even over the next 2 weeks. But for me, the larger question is, and this is what this new moon is about for me, as I really looked at the chart of the new moon. I'm not feeling that negative yet, either as far as the opposition to Chiron is concerned, or as far as the square to Pluto is concerned from a power struggle perspective. I think that this is a new moon that gives you the opportunity to take your power back. And that is somehow tied up with balancing the scales and calibrating relationships. So, in summary, this new moon, as far as I'm concerned, is a new moon that is infused with the opportunity to take your power back as you recalibrate and rebalance the scales as they have to do with relationships. And insofar as that is the theme, with whatever needs to be healed in the backdrop and whatever opportunities may come to you that are creative or relationship related, And if you find yourself, as you're recalibrating relationships, rushing headlong to someone who wants to keep the status quo going, either by not letting you grow, not letting you move or shift things around so that the relationship can be in a better place for you, then I would pay heed to that only from the perspective of what needs to be done to simply reclaim your own power, ideally in Libran ways, ideally in loving ways, loving to yourself, loving to the other party, by not getting pulled into the paradigm, the lower evolved or unevolved Libran paradigm of compromise or passivity or codependency to some extent. I kind of feel like codependency sits more in the next sign of Scorpio. It does. But we're almost there. For the next 4 or 5 days, we've still got Mercury and Venus in Libra. Mercury leaves Libra on October the 3rd. Venus leaves Libra on October the 8th. There's no need to worry. The new moon is happening. The new moon has its own 28-day cycle. The sun is here till the 23rd. We've got plenty of focus on Libra, and Mars enters Libra for 45 days or so on October the 4th. So Libra is still going to have the sun and Mars here, even as Mercury and Venus leave by October the 8th. And the shadow of the new moon is going to be very present till October the 28th. But we are going to see the focus start to shift into the heart of the fall, which is in Scorpio. And that's a separate video. One of my next videos is going to be about what I'll call Scorpio season. But for now, since the new moon in Libra is slowly growing for a few hours, let us think in terms of recalibrate. Let us think in terms of everything that has been brought to us over the past 2 weeks since Mercury and Venus entered Libra on September the 14th, may have come to us in communications. Let us focus on the idea of recalibrating relationships and rebalancing the scales. Let us think about moving away from the paradigm of codependency, compromise, and passivity, and more towards love and truly mature understanding, and putting our focus both on ourselves and the other party, and really trying to understand where the other party is at and what they might need, and focusing on what it is that we truly value. Let us go to a more Venusian place of quiet, silent reflection and maturity, as opposed to do, and action, and force. And let us, in the process of recalibrating relationships, take our power back. I will leave it here. If you like this video, found it useful, please feel free to share it. Comment on it, like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the bell icon next to the subscribe button to be notified when I do future videos. My email address is in the subject area once I'm done processing the video. You are welcome to reach out to me to ask me any questions, particularly with regard to readings and rates, etc. I create easy-to-read charts for people. I offer readings, so all of that information you can ask me about if you're interested. And I will leave it at that until my next video. Thanks. Bye.